Got we can do it in a second. Ooh, I forgot to switch the properties over here. Sorry guys, you caught me with my pants down here. I'm trying
your actual pants down.
Yes, you cannot see that, which is unfortunate because I actually was doing it for you.
Oh, damn it.
Yeah, I know. It sucks.
You can watch the live stream there.
What's up, you guys? Thank you so much for stopping by. I'm Jeremy, and movies are terrible. And joining me here on the line is Caleb Miles. What's up, Caleb?
What's up, man?
Got a lot of news. Got a shitload of headlines.
Holy shit, there's a ton of them.
Yeah, man, they just keep coming, too. Like, I think I added 2 more to the docket after we talked a minute ago. So, we got a bunch of those to get through. First, as always, we're going to kick things off with the segment, What Are You Watching? And I've been looking forward to this, Caleb, because last night I went and saw Glass.
Oh, okay. That's all I want to talk about anyway. So
here's a conversation. Perfect. Yeah. We haven't actually talked about it. I know you had a fairly... Well, let me not bury the lead. Tell me about your feelings on the movie Glass.
It is, for me, a 9.5. It is as close to a perfect film as you can get. I put it up there as just all-around phenomenal filmmaking. It made me appreciate the movie Split, which I actually was pretty lukewarm on Split. This made me appreciate that film.
So I was very, very bored by it. That was my biggest complaint. And, I'm not the kind of person who needs a high-octane action movie. I felt the pacing was a little bit off, and we won't get into spoilers here. Actually, it's been out for a couple weeks. Fuck it. We're going to get into spoilers here. If you are watching it live, I guess tune out for 5 minutes. Otherwise, if you're watching it in playback, we'll put a little timestamp down in the description so that you don't have to hear it. But let's be honest. You've already seen it if you cared, right? So I felt like a movie called Glass should have focused a little bit more on Glass. And if not, fine. Let it focus on somebody. But I felt like it ping-ponged around from one character to the other without having a real strong sense of who the protagonist was. And I guess it was all by design. Yeah.
I would actually agree with it's not Glass's story until it all comes together.
And he definitely has a very strong impact on the story. I mean, it is very much, it is his yarn that he spun. So I do get why, even despite the fact that he doesn't have a whole lot of dialogue in it, it still is very much his story. I don't know, man. I felt like it was a little on the nose with the comic book stuff throughout it, where Unbreakable hit it pretty much right on the head as well. Did you feel like the comic book themes?
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, did you feel like it was a little heavy-handed with the comic book themes?
No, I felt like it was very much. To me, this movie is a sequel to Unbreakable, not really a sequel to Glass. Like, I put them in the same category. They're both very slow. They're both very on the nose. To me, Split's the odd one out. Like, this played with.
That's 100% right.
yeah, like if you like for me, Unbreakable is by far my favorite M. Night Shyamalan film by a mile. So I'm, of course, like this one. That played with a superhero origin story very well, the iconic imagery. This played on the tropes of a superhero team up film and played with your expectations, specifically in what you expect to be a third act, where they're building up to the tower and it never goes there.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and in a way that's subversion, you know, and I can appreciate that in different contexts. I like that he's trying to really deconstruct the mythos. I felt like a lot of times with movies, and this is not strictly Glass by any means, a lot of times movies, they give you an ending that wasn't quite earned, and I feel like so many coincidences had to go down exactly right for that plan to play out in the first place. And then I also feel like the organization that Sarah Paulson worked for, their reach was a little hard to understand, like how much of that they were actually involved with. I don't know, it was just like little hangups, man. I felt like James McAvoy really shined in it. It's funny, I'm on the other side of the fence where Split was my favorite of the three of the movies, and it probably is more that it's just like a kind of B psychological horror movie, nothing really spectacular, you know, but it didn't have any pretenses about what it was. I didn't feel like Shyamalan's one of those guys that really does lean into the pretentiousness throughout all of his movies, and I felt like he kind of fell on that wrong side of it for me in this one.
Yeah, I tend to like more when he leans a little more this way and goes a slower route than his typical like Split. Split's not a bad film. It was just for me a very forgettable film. Where it was just kind of Split is, like you said, it's a psychological horror film. It doesn't pretend to be anything more. It doesn't even really attempt to be anything more than that. This movie, I loved it. I love the third act. So I loved the whole, since we're getting to spoilers, I absolutely loved that the whole thing of where he's like, oh, I figured out what I was. I am a villain, but that's not really my role in the comics. I'm the creator. I'm the person who jump starts the superhero universe. And he ends up being he ushers in the superhero age. This movie could almost be a prequel to every other superhero film ever created, which is kind of interesting way to do it. It's almost like a prequel to like an Avengers type of movie in a weird way, where he's like, this isn't the end. This is kind of the beginning, which was a very different way to end a trilogy, which I enjoyed.
Yeah, yeah. And the fact that he's not coming back to this, it leaves it open-ended. And, you know, I don't know. I feel like it was a competently made film that just didn't really sync up for me. And I have another friend. You were real high on it. My friend Andrea is real high on it. Real high on it. And yeah. Team Glass here. And I was wanting to like it. I have a friend, Vanessa, at work, and she was like, I don't know about it. And I went in to like it. And there were definitely elements of it that worked for me. But it's cool to see if I can swing and a miss.
For me, this is a film that I would, for when people have asked me, do I like it? My first thing is, do you think Split's better or Unbreakable?
You said that to me and you were 100% right.
Yeah, I'm like, if you think Split's better, you're probably not going to love it.
Yeah.
If you think Unbreakable is way better, you're going to love it, because it's definitely more an Unbreakable sequel than Split.
So what the fuck, dude? Did Homeboy just decide to swallow a lung full of water at the end of it, or did that human guy like somehow hold him down with his super strength?
Well, I think his super strength from the first movie is like goes away when he's in water or holding in water, doesn't it? No, because he's in water and he punches the thing.
But he does have a weakness to water. He's got some sort of fear of it.
Yeah, I think he has an irrational fear. I don't know if he says like that's his kryptonite, essentially, is what it is.
Just like those aliens and Signs, man, they're in the wrong fucking planet.
I'm telling them, I'm not Shyamalan, don't mess with water. He has a thing with it, Lady in the Water. This.
Yeah. I haven't seen Lady in the Water. So what did you think about The Visit that came out right before Split? With the old ladies, the old grandparents?
I absolutely loved it. It's my favorite, probably straight up horror film of his.
It's fun. It was a trip, man.
It's another movie that doesn't try to be anything that it isn't. I put it almost more in the category of Split.
Yeah. You know,
it's just a horror film. It's a well done horror film
for sure. All right. Well, let's see what else. You seen anything this week?
I honestly have just been working, and I've been watching season 2 of a series of Unfortunate Events, which is absolutely brilliant. I recommend it to everyone.
I never saw the movie. I am a fan of Neil Patrick Harris, and I like the aesthetic of it. It's good, huh?
Oh, it's great. It's definitely like a kid show. It's like Harry Potter if Harry Potter was good, essentially.
Okay. So not a Harry Potter fan.
No, not at all.
Damn, man. I mean, I'm not gonna say I'm not a Harry Potter fan. I'm not a bona fide Harry Potter fan. I think I've seen like, I don't know, a quarter of the movies. Not like you know what I mean? Like,
I've seen 2 movies, but I've read 4 or 5 of the books. So I think I've given my try. I've given it a shot. I'm not one of these people who just hates it for no reason. I don't hate it. I just find it uninteresting.
Just not for you. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, like I don't hate it, actually. I talk a lot of shit about it because I just fucking around. But no, I don't hate it.
So I started watching this anime. There's only one season right now, and it's called High Score Girl. It's really fucking cool, dude. So it is 2 middle schoolers. It's in the 1990s, and it's like an anime rom-com. But it's High Score Girl. The whole thing revolves around 2 really competitive arcade players that go through and they play like Street Fighter 2, Mortal Kombat, like all of the big arcade games from the 90s. And it actually incorporates like footage from the games into the anime. It's fucking dope, dude.
Oh, the art style's kind of cool. I just pulled it up right now. It's on Netflix, it looks like.
It is. And they actually greenlit a season 2 just recently. That's cool that you brought up the graphics. I should let people see it real quick.
It's actually kind of cool art style. I'm digging it. I've been needing to watch anime. Actually, it's one of the things I've been trying to watch a little bit of Naruto to finish this goddamn series because I'm never going to finish it. It started when I was 15 years old and still haven't finished it.
Well, it's like 1,000 fucking episodes, isn't it?
Yeah, it's already done. So I know so many people who started watching it way after me and are already done, but I got a life. So
I was gonna say, like balancing things like life and shit with it. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, I'm like I could, just watch Naruto, or I could like have sex again. So,
priorities.
It's priorities, but I don't know. I definitely need to finish it. I mean, it's tattooed on my skin forever. I should probably finish it.
Yeah. It seems daunting. I like the animation style of that a lot more than I like the animation of Dragon Ball, though. I don't know if you don't have to pick one or the other, but for me, I really like the more sleek style of anime characters as opposed to the real blocky like Ninja Scroll and Dragon Ball kind that they almost are built like Ninja Turtles, where every one of their muscles is its own fucking shape.
Dragon Ball. These motherfuckers are huge.
Yeah. Well, all right. We got so many fucking news stories to talk about. We'll go ahead and jump right in. Oops. See, man, I'm trying to get these graphics set up and going, but I don't
think we need to worry about graphics. We'll just have a conversation. I think that'll probably work.
Did you see the Florida graphic on the last show?
I did see the Florida graphic.
It got a comment, dude, right away. You weren't in there, but somebody was like, "Oh, that's dope." So,
oh, awesome. No, I was not in there. I was working, which is not fun, but that's where I was.
Man, see, priorities. Think about it. Think about what you missed out on.
I know. I missed out on commenting, and all I did was make money.
Zack Snyder.
Over my head.
All right, whatever. We'll move on. Zack Snyder returning to movies with zombie action pick Army of the Dead. I know that you and I have talked about Zack Snyder and Dawn of the Dead fairly recently.
Yeah, we actually, like an episode or 2 ago, we talked about it. I am a huge Zack Snyder fan. He is one of my top 15 directors. I absolutely love his work. So him returning back to horror is awesome. It looks like he was given $90 million to do this movie.
And it's a Netflix movie. It's going to be called Army of the Dead. Actually, I think I said that a minute ago. But yeah, it says that they've rebranded their production company to Stone Quarry. Army of the Dead is about a zombie outbreak in Las Vegas, during which a man assembles a group of mercenaries to take the ultimate gamble, venturing into the quarantine zone to pull off the greatest heist ever attempted. and they took over this project from Warner Brothers. It went into development in 2007, and now they're moving ahead with it. As Caleb mentioned, there's a $90 million range for the budget. And Snyder seems pretty stoked about it. He says basically that the handcuffs are off this time and that he's never been allowed to just like unleash like this before. So what are you thinking, man?
I'm extremely excited about this. I as someone who, I actually love Batman versus Superman. Watchmen is my favorite superhero film of all time, comic book film of all time. As much as I like what he does there, I'm very excited to see him get away from superhero films. I think he's talents are probably better else places, especially because in this interview he said he's gonna, a lot of his older works he would actually like get behind the camera. He would like be a cameraman sometimes on it. And this one, he said, he goes, I'm actually going to have camera in my hands for some of this movie.
For like the first time in 5 years.
Yeah, because he's gotten too big for big budget films. And he is, love him or hate him, he's a very stylized director, which he doesn't make sense for a lot of people for mass audience type of movies. That's just not who he is. So I'm excited to see him go to a smaller thing. And I'm really excited to... That almost seemed like to me a shot at WB. Like, this is the first time in a while I haven't had handcuffs
100%. It's just his way of saying, yeah, I get to be a director again instead of a fucking cog in this gigantic machine.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I like Snyder as a filmmaker. Some directors have different areas where they excel, and I think Zack Snyder, I've heard him call it a million times, a quote-unquote visionary filmmaker, and it's because he's a visual filmmaker. He really does know how to fucking stage a really cool composition. He understands action sequences fairly well. He's very like a pretty cool director. I think he got to start in music videos, which definitely makes sense. Dawn of the Dead is probably my favorite of his movies, and it's just unabashedly, it's like a fun zombie movie. It's his own thing. It's not trying to be a beat for beat remake of the original Dawn of the Dead, which I actually think really worked for its benefit as well. Like, he wasn't trying to redo the Romero movie, and he sidestepped all the comparisons by doing his own thing with it. That scene on the rooftop where they're just fucking picking off different celebrities, like one on the other buildings holding up the sign, like Burt Reynolds and Rosie O'Donnell, and he's shooting them, just kind of for everybody's amusement. It's a pretty funny scene.
The part where the zombie baby is like a memorable scene. There's just like so much in that film that for me is memorable. I'm really curious to see, because I was very early on in his career before he got super like visually stylized with like 300 and Watchmen. I'm really curious to see what he'll do now with a horror film, because I feel like the Zack Snyder who made that film and the Zack Snyder we have now are very different.
That's a good
type
point.
Of creators. I'm kind of excited to see what he's learned on a visual level, but applied to a zombie film again.
Dude, why do you think they rebranded the production house? Do you think there was a stank on it for some reason? I mean, did the DC fuck up his branding that bad that he had to change the name?
100%. This dude was getting death threats all the time.
That's like, fucked up, right?
Freaked out on him. Like, I don't know. I personally think that Zack Snyder gets a horrible rap, and it really didn't start until he started doing comic book movies.
Fucking fans, dude. They are the worst.
Oh, it's just... Yeah, so I'm excited to see him go back. I think this is good for him.
Yeah, man. We'll go ahead and move on from that into some more zombie news. This one's kind of for you more than anything, because I haven't been keeping up much, but did you see there's some new images for season 9 of The Walking Dead?
I did. Well, I didn't see them until you sent me to them. And they're pretty much just standard Walking Dead, except for the last one of the daughter wearing
like
Rick's
a mix
hat.
between Michonne and Rick at the end there.
Yeah, like that's probably the most notable one. I'm like, man, that kid's getting old. But
yeah,
I'm excited. It's one of those films, one of those series that I've never fell in love with it. I've loved pretty much every season, and the seasons I didn't necessarily love, I still enjoyed the heck out of. I am a zombie apologist, though, so I am with zombie films how a lot of people are about with superhero films. Where I'll be like,
sure,
it's not that good of a movie, and they're like, I don't care, it's a superhero film.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on that side with zombie films. So, and Walking Dead. People are like, it's bad. I'm like, I get to see people shoot zombies. I'm good.
And it's definitely the best zombie show on TV. I mean, I guess you could maybe make the argument for Fear the Walking Dead, but come on, man. That's like a embarrassment of riches where back in the day to have any sort of horror show on television, like, regardless of the fact that they're actually spend good money on The Walking Dead and stuff, it's just like it's good horror on television. They really push the boundaries for what you can show on television and all sorts of stuff. For you guys that are listening, we are kind of just scrolling through the pictures on the screen. If you're watching the YouTube video, you can see them.
I mean, yeah, like you said, they really push the boundaries as far as gore. I mean, there's the whole introduction of Negan where I won't spoil it for someone who's years behind, but the killing of some major characters, and it is one of the most gory things I've ever seen on TV. Yeah,
I actually haven't seen that episode. That's right. That's where I'm at right now, and I just haven't been able to go back to it. I'm like, fuck, I know where I'm at.
That is a gut punch episode. That is like, you're like, oh, and then they did not hold back. Like, that is brutal. That's almost more graphic than I've seen in most films.
So that one picture of Michonne with the two zombies in front of her is definitely very reminiscent of some of the early scene stuff with, early season stuff where she's got the two pet zombies.
Well, and I believe they have a new showrunner coming in, and I think she wants to take it back more to where it was originally, where it was a little bit more about zombies and less about like interpersonal relationships, which I think there's a good balance that you need to strike between both of those two. I don't want to see dumb zombies all the time, but I can agree, even though I love it, I see the problems that people have with it being too soap opera-y.
Is Negan the new fucking Rick now, dude? Like, what's going on there?
I don't know where they're going to go with him. Like, I honestly, as someone who doesn't read the comics, I've read the first issue. I owned the first issue. I actually owned a signed copy of the first issue when I was a kid. Well, when I was a teenager, when it came out, and I was like, read it once and like fucking threw it away.
Really?
Yeah, I'm an idiot. But I don't know where they're going to go with him. And I'm one of those people, I purposely do not read the comics because I love the show so much.
Well, let's move away from The Walking Dead and talk about Zombieland 2. Taking the 10-year challenge. I just now grabbed this one and threw it on the roster. We got even more Zombieland stuff, and the poster is a pretty much exact replica from the first poster. However, they actually have aged up 10 years. I guess they're holding different weapons, but it's pretty much the exact same poster, and it's pretty amazing how they all look exactly the same, other than Abigail Breslin. Are you looking at it?
No, I saw it though earlier. I was actually pulling it up. Isn't that is that just a fan made poster?
I think it actually officially came out today, but let me double check.
Oh, you're right, it did. I just clicked on it to see. Yep, that is, because it almost looks like fan made. It's not the best poster, but I'm so excited for it.
It was a pretty cheap movie, man. Ruben Fleischer did this one as well as the first one, and he's also the director that just now was responsible for Venom. So I wasn't wild about Venom, but God, I love the first Zombieland.
Yeah, I'm in the same exact boat. Didn't like Venom pretty much at all, but man, Zombieland is another like 9.5, nearly perfect film.
And it's funny, like Zombieland came out at a time where I was like, more fucking zombie stuff, and I am a zombie fan, but it got so saturated, the market did there for a minute. I'm like, oh, great, okay, another Shaun of the Dead. And then I saw it, and I was like, wow, it's a really fresh angle on this whole thing. And then Warm Bodies came out a little bit later, and I was like, oh, wow, they did a pretty good job with that one, too.
Yeah, Warm Bodies is also, a really good film, and Shaun of the Dead.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
They're all good.
So, yeah, I'm excited about this. I mean, none of them really need the paycheck. I really guess I haven't seen Jesse Eisenberg or Abigail Breslin and all that much stuff, but Woody Harrelson's been fucking super successful for decades now, and Emma Stone recently, within the past 5 years, has just become a hot commodity,
And Woody Harrelson just continues to be successful. Like every time he'll disappear for very little bit, and the next thing you know, boom, he's back in full force.
Yeah, and he's always great, man. I love him in that last Apes movie.
Yeah, I was just thinking the same thing. He was great in it. I don't know if even movies I don't like that he's in, I don't think I've ever disliked him in a movie.
Yeah, right.
Have you ever seen Defender with him?
No.
His superhero movie?
Nah, I didn't know that existed.
Yeah, imagine him playing a guy with some mental disabilities who is like the Punisher. It's
Really?
awesome. Yeah, it's awesome film.
You seen Super before?
Hmm. Love it. Love James Gunn. So
Jesus Christ, that's a fucked up movie.
Defender is as good as that film.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, how come I've never heard of this? Let me look it up real quick.
No one's heard of this film. Like, I don't know why it didn't blow up. I don't even know who directs it, but it's one of those ones that anytime someone brings up like Super or Woody Harrelson, I'm always like, watch Defender.
Defendor.
Yeah, yeah, it's like DOR.
Damn, 2009. All right. All right. Sleeping on Defendor. Never even heard of it before, but I'm going to have to give that guy a watch. Lakeith Stanfield of Sorry to Bother You fame was recently taken into consideration to star as the protagonist in Jordan Peele's Candyman sequel. So it looks like we're doing a sequel. It looks like we're going with a male protagonist as opposed to a female protagonist. I think it's interesting that they're doing a sequel because I can't imagine them using somebody other than Tony Todd in a Candyman sequel. But, you know, Jordan Peele recently did Get Out to lots and lots of critical praise. He's got the movie Us coming out soon that looks like it's going to be really, really good. And now he's doing an upcoming sequel, spiritual sequel to the 1992 horror classic. Have we talked about Candyman before?
Yes, I've told you I've never seen them, and you love Candyman.
All right. So yeah, you guys, if you're fans of Candyman, get on Caleb on Twitter and say you gotta watch that movie.
Oh, I need to. I probably will love them. I love that whole era of horror.
It's good. It's good. I'm really curious to see because and we've talked about the satire or the kind of topical elements that were in it, and I'd imagine that they're definitely going to play with some of that stuff in Jordan Peele's version of it. It's too topical right now to not touch on the gentrification element, the race element of it, and all that. So hopefully they'll do something really cool. I'm just curious who they're going to put in as Candyman.
I just can't believe, like, who would have thought Jordan Peele, a comedian, would be like one of like the hottest horror film directors? Like, I didn't see that coming.
I'm not trying to sleep on Jordan Peele, but I want just like show me one more thing. Right now, what you have is one good movie. You show me another good movie, and we're starting to form a pattern. Am I being too skeptical?
No, I think that's totally fine to do that with any film. I'm actually very excited for Us. As someone who was mediocre on Get Out, I thought it was beautifully shot and well directed as much as I didn't really click with me. Us, to me, looks amazing. I know he's been wanting to do Akira, which please give that man Akira. Give him Akira. He's been talking about that for years.
God, dude, that would be such a hard movie to actually execute. It's like so nice in the medium that it's in.
Well, and even the movie itself, like I love the manga. The manga is phenomenal. The movie itself is kind of shitty. It's just really cool because it's like well animated. So I don't know how well you translate it. I'd hope he'd base it on the manga, which is vastly different than that film. Man,
that movie is fantastic. Granted, it was one of the first animes I ever saw, but I think that was kind of what was...
it's beautiful. I own it, and I don't even necessarily like it, and I'll still go back and watch it just because it's so beautiful.
Man, it was like a Pioneer movie. Like Pioneer distributed it in America. But yeah, I didn't see it in the theater, man, but I did love it on VHS. That was like something I'd love to show my friends because not everybody was into anime at the time.
Yeah, it was definitely especially like the first run with the old English dub before Pioneer put it out when like some garbage studio had it and it was like some weird, horrible dub, like no one. And then that Pioneer release really reinvigorated it. Okay. I mean, it was before then.
I didn't know about that part.
Yeah, so that's the new dub. There's an old dub out there that is very bad.
I see. I did not know that. Look at me learning things. Stephen King's The Stand, ordered to series at CBS All Access. I threw this one in because, I mean, Stephen King is all over the place these days, kind of similar to, I don't know, Emma Stone, Jordan Peele, whoever else we've been talking about. Like, the past couple years, people have been buying up everything Stephen King. When I saw Split last night, there was a trailer for Pet Sematary, and The Stand is like one of my favorite Stephen King stories and books, but I felt like the 90s adaptation was just such a poor representation of that story. So this is one I've always been wanting to see a film adaptation of, and actually they had hired a filmmaker named Josh Boone to spearhead the film adaptation of it. Josh Boone went on to direct New Mutants, which is currently in production hell. They think that's our next story coming up. But yeah, so Josh Boone is actually going to be one of the writers on it for this CBS All Access. Problem is, CBS All Access. I don't fucking want that. I don't think I'm ever going to see this because of that.
You'll see it when it comes to Netflix or Hulu.
Yeah, when CBS All Access shuts down.
Yeah, exactly.
So what about you? Are you familiar with this story?
So because The Stands, it was a miniseries, right?
It was.
Okay, yeah, I've never seen it, never read the book. It's one of those complete blind spots of mine.
It's really epic in scope. It is a rapture movie of all fucking things. Like half of the world's population, maybe more than that, die from some sort of plague. The people that are left over are kind of tasked with, they're the last remnants of society. And then there's this particular character who, man, what's his name?
So it's not like a horror film then. It's more like dystopian sci-fi almost-esque.
It is all of those things, and that's like almost the perfect way of putting it. It's sort of Mad Max in some ways.
Okay.
And then it's just also this really big, Christianity, like riff on Christianity, not Rapture, what am I trying to say? Revelations, and the devil's in it, so I mean there's definitely supernatural and horror elements in it, but mostly it just feels like a really vast post-apocalyptic movie. It's good.
Something I definitely would see. I might even go back and watch the old show, even though I've heard kind of the same thing of like, it's not that good, the book's better. It's kind of what I've heard, the sentiment about the original.
Yeah, I mean of course they're all like, those 90s adaptations of Stephen King movies were so bad, but it was good. It was like entertainment to us. And you look at I look at a show like The Walking Dead and I'm like, kind of lame. It's kind of fallen off after 7 years of doing it right. But like the worst episode of The Walking Dead is fucking 20 times better than it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was definitely a different time when all of these were made. I just can't believe like Stephen King, like you said, there's a resurgence of him right now. Like he's at the top of his game, and Pet Sematary looks awesome.
It really does. It really does.
Right.
And it's crazy. Like he hits a resurgence every decade, it seems like. The 90s, it was all those animated movies or fucking direct-to-TV adaptations. In the 80s, he had a lot of his books were turned into adaptations. I guess that really started at the end of the 70s with The Shining, Dead Zone, Carrie, carried
and
into
Dead Zone had the movie and had the TV movie first, and then the TV show second.
I didn't see that movie until many, many years later, and it is really fucking good.
Yeah, my introduction to Dead Zone was the TV show, which I actually really liked too, and then went back and watched the movie, and the movie's excellent.
I hadn't seen the TV show before, but I do remember
it's really
when it
good.
came on.
It's Anthony Michael Hall, I think is him. If I remember. Yeah, I think so off the top of my head. It's good though. Like I watched might have watched the entire show. Like I think I actually picked them up on DVD.
So Josh Boone is not only doing that project for The Stand, but he is also, like I said, in the middle of trying to get the New Mutants out and produced. There was a trailer that came out like a while ago. Do you remember when that trailer came out?
Yeah, I remember that. What was that like? That has to be over a year ago now.
Yeah, not even the date or whatever. It doesn't matter. But like, I remember seeing it and being like, "Oh wow, New Mutants is coming out soon. This is like a horror movie trailer." And then it just disappeared.
I was very excited about this, and then it just went away.
And I've heard a little bit about Dark Phoenix in the interim. People kind of kept talking about, the will she, won't she of that whole movie. And I thought New Mutants was just gone. They did say there was going to be extensive reshoots. And then it looks like it's back on track to be released in August in theaters. Josh Boone is currently in post-production, says Deadline in a new report. there's a brand new character that was added that wasn't originally part of the script, and they wanted to lean into the horror elements of it. So they went back and reshot substantial amounts of it to make it more of a horror film and add a character to it. Do you know the New Mutants?
So my exposure to New Mutants was with actually through Legion. It's the beginning of the Age of Apocalypse story,
Okay.
where he actually goes back and kills his dad. That's kind of like my exposure to New Mutants. So I think of like Cable and stuff is who I think of when I think of New Mutants.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with this particular team. Similar to what you said, I remember the Age of Apocalypse crossover event, and this to me, for knowing absolutely nothing about it, just from hype, I'm pretty sure this character that they added is going to be a character named Demon Bear. Don't know what that means, but this
Demon Bear?
Yeah, is that right? Demon Bear? I think that's right. Maybe I'm crazy.
That's a horrible name.
It's actually it's like a big giant teddy bear. I don't even think it's a teddy bear. Big giant, yeah.
Demon Bear.
Do you see the picture of it?
Yeah, it's just a big ass bear. It looks like
yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know about it. I am real curious to see what happens with X-Men New Mutants as well as Dark Phoenix, because it's this really weird transitional period right now where even if they're fantastic, they're still donezo. It's like we're not going to get anything more from that storyline. Or like if New Mutants or X-Men Apocalypse comes out, or Dark Phoenix comes out and crushes, do you think that would sway Disney or push them in the direction of continuing to produce those?
No, not at all. They're all just gonna be Avengers.
Yeah, I agree.
Pretty soon.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Wolverine will be Avengers.
If they have to take a hit on one to assimilate the rest of those characters into the MCU, they will gladly take that hit.
100%. Yeah, I'm honestly, I think they really wanted this. I'm sure they're excited to get X-Men. I honestly think they're more excited just to grab Wolverine. I think that's where their big play was.
Isn't that some shit? They're like, he's the only one we care about. We got Spider-Man from Fox or from Sony. Now we're coming for Wolverine.
Yeah, it's insane to me. I think that was their big play. I'm pretty sure he'll be one of the Avengers.
So did you watch Dune? Have you read Dune? Are you familiar with this?
I've never read, but I've seen the movie. And there was a show too, right? There's
Children of Dune on Sci-Fi. I never saw that either, though.
I saw that. That I actually liked better than the movie.
And the movie is David Lynch, I think. Yeah, David
Is
Lynch.
It? God, I didn't even know that.
1970s. Let me double check to make sure I'm not crazy. It might be like, let me see, David Lynch. Yeah, David Lynch. Okay, so he's a very strange director. He worked with Kyle Chandler on this movie. Kyle Chandler went on to do Twin Peaks with David Lynch, which was a good one. So at least that came out of it. I always thought that Dune was like one of those like what's that guy's name? Not Buck Rogers, Flash Gordon or some shit. Like I didn't understand what it was.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't know. I thought it was like a hokey kind of parody of that kind of movie, I guess.
Okay.
But I never saw it. So I don't know much about it other than Denis Villeneuve is one of my favorite directors. I think me and you both have a shared love of Blade Runner, and this kind of feels like it exists in that same wheelhouse. It feels like visually it could share a lot in common.
Yeah, I feel like he'll take definitely what he learned. Apparently, he's going to base it more on the book because apparently the movie doesn't do a good job of covering the book, and he's a big fan of the book. So I'm excited about that. I've never read the book. What made me already excited about this is when he came out and he was talking about Dune and people got pissed because he goes, "Yeah, I love Dune. It's like Star Wars for adults."
Nice.
I was like, okay, I love Denis Villeneuve even more now.
And he's like, what do you mean? I meant no offense by that. I thought you people all knew that Star Wars was for children.
Yeah, like he was shocked. Like he did not expect a backlash over that. I just thought it was hilarious.
It's ridiculous. It's fucking ridiculous. So yeah, I love this director. I'm very confident that pretty much anything he does will be good. Reading the synopsis of Dune had me realize that, like, man, there's a lot of Game of Thrones elements in this. It's about like heirs and different houses and all of the shit that I love about Game of Thrones feels, and I don't know this, but just speculatively, it feels like there is probably some Dune influence in George R.R. Martin's work.
You actually made me, I think I might, before the movie comes out, read the book. I think I'm going to get on that because that sounds like something, and I'm going to watch the movie. I'm going to read the book first, then watch the movie because I'm just super excited for anything Denis Villeneuve puts his hands on.
Book club, we'll say that we're going to read Dune, and then we'll just get on the podcast and drink mimosas.
Drink mimosas?
It'll be like our book club.
Like, have you seen Family Guy where they have the mimosa show? It's like a morning show.
No.
It's pretty much like making fun of like Wendy Williams and all those. They're like, yeah, bitch, mimosa time. And they throw mimosas. It's pretty funny.
Integrity Farms, remember? I just
Integrity Farms.
Oh, I'm finally catching up on South Park, but I guess that was I missed that segment. So Zendaya is going to be playing the love interest of Timothée Chalamet, who's another just all over everything these days. And then not only that, but we've got Oscar Isaac, Rebecca Ferguson, Stellan Skarsgård, Dave Bautista, and Charlotte Rampling. I don't know who that is, but yeah, it's shaping up to be a pretty good cast. How are they going to keep this from being a financial disaster like Blade Runner?
Oh, this movie's going to tank so bad. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, right? Nobody cares.
Oh, yeah. This is going to be... critics are going to love it, and no one's going to watch it.
That sucks. It's so true. So why are these studios giving this dude all this money to do these? Like, they're really cool projects. It's the kind of stuff, like you said, that like sci-fi fans drool over this shit, but average audiences are going to be like, what is this?
I think it's one of those things. The only thing I can think from a business standpoint is like, we know we're going to lose money while it's in theaters, but we're going to gain it back through sales once it goes to video.
That fucking 30-year plan.
Yeah, like that's the only way I can even make sense of it, because unless there are people who really think this is going to make money, and I would be floored if it did.
No, you're 100% right. I kind of felt the same way, that it's like, I mean, if Blade Runner didn't, how is Dune going to? Blade Runner, I feel like, is even a bigger IP than Dune is.
I don't know. Dune has a pretty hardcore following. I know my dad
it
loves
does.
But I agree, like Blade Runner comes up more often than Dune does, probably. You know, as like a classic.
That's what I feel like, that it's just, it holds that spot in the lexicon a little bit more.
It's amazing though. Like, I can't tell you how, I think it does for people like you and me and people who watch this podcast. I can't tell you how many people I talk to who watch movies, who are like casual movie fans, never even heard of Blade Runner. Like, the main name means nothing to them.
What?
It blows my mind.
You shame them.
Yeah, I should. I should just make fun of them. Throw shit at them.
Fuck yeah. All right. Well, whatever. We'll move on. Bad Boys. Did you see that? Did you see this?
I didn't see it. They've been talking about it for God knows how long.
I saw that it's Will Smith and Martin Lawrence in a video together. Let me show you guys on the screen this. And I was like, oh shit, they're going to like give some sort of message or something. And then you play
Going nowhere. We ain't going nowhere.
And it's just basically a GIF that like rocks from side to side, and the fucking Bad Boy song plays. That
you on Instagram.
Ain't going nowhere. Who is that, Mace?
Yeah, we can't use that.
Because it's Bad Boy for life. All right.
Well, I do see it. It's just...
It's like...
Man.
Martin Lawrence, man, he ain't looking too...
He aged a lot more than Will Smith did.
Where the fuck has he been?
Crack.
Yeah, I don't. He's been living the hard life. Oh yeah. Damn.
Yeah, he kind of just. The last thing I know that I can even think of that he did was he did that show with cannot think of his actual name, but he did the show with Frasier. They had a show where they were like cops or something
Kelsey
together.
Grammer?
Like, no. Yes.
What?
Yeah, Martin Lawrence and Kelsey Grammer had a show together like 2 years ago, like it was like one season.
Was it good?
I don't know, never watched it like everyone else.
No, nobody saw that shit.
And the thing is, I actually like both of those guys, you know? So I'm like, Martin Lawrence. I'm gonna have to Google what it is. Kelsey Grammer.
So let's see who is attached to it. Alexander Ludwig from Vikings, Vanessa Hudgens from All Sorts of Stuff, and Charles Melton from Riverdale are expected to join the Bad Boy franchise as a modern, highly specialized police unit that clashes with the old guard Mike Lowry and Marcus something. I don't remember what Marcus's last name is, but could a spin-off film be in the works to continue the franchise? Yes, that's what they're trying to do here, is set up Bad Boys for a new generation.
That's exactly what they're trying to do. They're going to spin it off, and there's going to be a Bad Girls movie in a couple of years.
Sign me up for that.
I'm making a joke, but honestly, I could so picture that being where they're going with this.
No, for it's shit storyboarded out and everything. They've got connective yarn running from
one season.
Really?
10 episodes. They got a whole whopping 10.
Okay, so we've got Elite Boys on the chat room. Sorry, buddy. I just now noticed that you were in here. We kind of stopped there for a second on the stream. He said me and Sean, we are live right now with Sean competing with us right now, same time.
Oh no,
that's not going to work out well for us.
That's not going to work out well. I think we might lose this one.
Yeah. He says, what 2019 movies are you most hyped for?
Well, no, Dune's not coming out. What's coming out this year? Oh,
that's
the one we just talked about, Army of the Dead.
Yeah.
Zombieland. 2 of them we just talked about.
It Chapter 2, Star Wars Episode 9, and Avengers Endgame are 2 I'm excited about.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh, good one.
And then
Debbie Does the Dishes 7.
Yes, does the dishes.
She did Dallas, man, and now she's moved on to the dishes.
She's all worn out, and now she just washes shit.
Yeah, sucks for Debbie. Sucks for Debbie. All right. Matt Reeves teases the Batman release date, talks noir-tinged detective story, and more. What you think about this?
So, love Matt Reeves. And I'm, at this point, could give 2 fucks. I'm just kind of sick of hearing about it.
Really?
I know that sounds horrible. Yeah, I'm just kind of over it at this point, you know? Like, and Matt Reeves is brilliant. Like, I think he's a great director, but I don't know.
You're a big fan of the Apes trilogy. I know this about you. You're a big fan of Batman.
Mm-hmm.
I know this about you. You're a big fan of movies.
Well, and then there's the whole thing of them going back and forth too with like, is Ben Affleck going to be in it? Yes. No. Yes. No. I'm like, just give me a fucking answer.
Yeah, that's what I wonder. Like, it's hard to talk about it too much, not knowing anything about it, like what Batman they're using.
If Ben Affleck's in it, though, my excitement level will go through the roof.
So you'd like to see him as the character?
100%.
Yeah, he was good. He was a good Batman.
Yeah, he's my favorite Batman for me.
Yeah, I can see that. I understand why people would like, Christian Bale's because of the movie that he was in, but I think Ben Affleck really did nail both Bruce Wayne and Batman. And
that's my thing. I've always said, like, Christian Bale is in good Batman movies. I just don't like him as Batman.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of that sort of thing where I'm like, he's in a good Batman movie, but I think you can be in something that's good, but not necessarily be good for that character or even be the reason it's good.
I really do want to see like a noir-tinged Batman movie that is more detective-driven. This seems like the kind of speculation and the kind of like internet think tank pitch meeting that happened there, because it feels like, yes, this is what everybody wants to see. This really makes sense for the character. And it's something that really hasn't been explored all of that much through the movies. Like, if there is a character that inner monologue could really work for in a movie, Batman would be a cool character to be inside their head, I think.
100%. And especially if they really go like Dark Knight, Ben Affleck sort of style, where like Batman's kind of a little out there.
Yes.
I think you could really get into his head a lot. I do like the sounds that it's going to be a smaller film, which since they've said it's going to be that since back when Ben Affleck was supposed to be directing it. So That I am excited about. I'm all for anytime you take a comic book movie and shrink it down. I will show up strictly for that.
Is Matt Reeves a better director than Ben Affleck?
That's a hard one. I actually think they're both really good directors.
My instinct initially is to say, no, Ben Affleck's the better
Me
director.
too.
But
That's
then thinking about it, Matt Reeves probably has a more impressive resume. Yes, Batman and Caesar are beasts.
Nice. I think I'm very much like you, where I'm like instantly when I hear that I'm like, oh no, God no,
Yeah, it's got to be Ben Affleck.
Got to be. And then I actually think about it, I'm like, well, I mean, I'm just thinking of Cloverfield was great,
He did Let Me In, Cloverfield.
Never saw it. I actually should do that.
2 Apes movies. Is that it though?
That's pretty much it. I mean, before that, he was doing like the Pallbearer with David Schwimmer.
Sure. Okay, and then we've got Ben Affleck who did The Town, Argo, that other one that nobody saw. And is that it? There was one other one.
No, I'm gonna pull him up now because now it's bugging me. I'm like, he's done quite a bit of stuff The Town was excellent. I really like The Town.
The Town's fantastic, and Gone Baby Gone is very good. So it was Argo, it was Gone Baby Gone, The Town,
Gone Girl, yeah,
Argo, and then that fourth one was where he was a mobster.
The Live by Night. Yeah, I never saw that one.
Me neither.
The Town. Honestly, that's.
Pound for pound, they're pretty much fucking evenly matched, right?
Yeah, they're pretty much even. They make a very different. It's weird. From on paper, I look at the films. Ben Affleck seems like someone I would like his films more, but to say I do, would be a lie. But he also did direct. He directed a movie called. Apparently, Ben Affleck, did you know, directed a short called "I Killed My Lesbian Wife," hung her on a meat hook, and now I have 3-picture deal at Disney.
Wow. No.
So
what year is that?
1993, a short film.
Wow. That title's probably longer than the movie.
Yeah, it probably is.
Huh.
Well, then I click on it and it doesn't say, it said it under director, and then I click on it and it shows a totally different director. So I have no idea why it's showing up in his director credits.
It's the other Ben Affleck.
Yeah, apparently the other Ben Affleck is also called Jay Lacopo. So that's maybe his alias. I don't know.
He sounds like a real unsavory fucking character if that's the kind of movies he's making. Fucking shame on him. So did you see the Birds of Prey costume test or whatever it was?
Heck yeah, I did.
That shit was dope.
It looks awesome. I love Harley Quinn as I love Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn. I think she is brilliant as that character.
Yeah, Do you
think we'll get a Leto cameo in this one?
I don't know. It's really hard. Like Leto is officially attached to Morbius now with Sony, so it's gonna be. I cannot even speculate with Warner Brothers and DC. Man, I've done it in the past, and I've learned not to put my money on that anymore. Right now, I
agree. Like, it's crazy that we may never get to see Ben Affleck and Jared Leto go up against each other as Batman and Joker. Like, that's just insane.
And it's so interesting to me that it's sort of that branding thing. It's like nobody holds Ben Affleck responsible for a bad Batman versus Superman movie, but there's always going to be that association there. So the studios and the marketing teams are like, we're going to have to separate this from the previous incarnation by replacing the actors, but it means that all of these really talented people don't get a fair shake at it, because I didn't really like Jared Leto as the Joker, but I do think Jared Leto is a great actor, so I wouldn't like totally write off seeing him in another movie, I
would like to give him, like, as someone who actually really liked his portrayal, I had some problems with it, but I didn't hate the way everybody else did. I just would like to see him get, I feel like it's kind of unjust to totally write this guy off after a glorified cameo.
Sure. Yeah. I think that's pretty fair. I think it's fair. With this Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie coming out and not knowing who this new Batman, who they've got their eye on for the new Batman, it's just really, really also up in the air. But I did like the costume test. I felt like Huntress's costume was a little bit, I don't know. I didn't love the design of it. It's very simple, and I think that's kind of supposed to be the aesthetic of it. But yeah, Harley Quinn does look great. Did you notice she has a dog tag around her neck that says Bruce on it?
Yeah, I did. That's very bizarre. I'm curious to see where they're going with that.
So it's either Bruce Timm, right, who was like the co-creator of Harley Quinn on the animated series, or it's Bruce Wayne, Batman.
I think it's Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, that's what my first instinct was that, but it might not have any narrative purpose at all.
Did you see the set photos where she might be getting her hyenas too?
Nah.
Yeah, because in the comics and stuff, she has like the two hyenas. There's a shot that someone took of her being in a pet store that says exotic pets.
Really?
So I'm like, which is weird if she just picks up hyenas at an exotic pet store. I don't know how it comes about in the comics, but I'm like, that's kind of cool.
She had the hyenas in the animated series, I guess. Staying in the world, and nobody gives a shit. I post one thing about X-Men, and there's 100 engagements on it.
That show is so good.
It is good.
It is so good. Just straight up taken from like the pages of Jim Lee, which is, if you're going to take it from something, that's a great era to take from X-Men.
That is definitely my X-Men growing up. That was it, man. That was kind of what got me into comics, to be honest, was that whole
I'm kind of shocked that, to go off on a tangent, I'm kind of shocked that no one has made that pilot into a movie. Like, Jubilee is your main character. She discovers her powers. She's walking through a mall. Sentinels attack, and then she kind of gets saved by the X-Men. I'm like, it's actually a cool intro to the X-Men.
Yeah, it really is. It really is, and it gives you that kind of entry point through a character that's even more relatable than most of the X-Men are, just because she's like a regular teenager and stuff at the beginning.
Yeah, it blows my mind. No one's done that. It blows my mind. I don't know. I'm like, you have a great introduction to them, and you don't take it.
Well, we got 4 minutes, one more story. This is actually pretty perfect timing. I just now saw a little bit ago that Michael B. Jordan is confirmed to be coming back for Black Panther 2, and my immediate reaction was, oh, that's going to kind of steal the impact from the character's death, like what happens in all of the Marvel movies. Like, oh, you mean Agent Coulson's not really dead? Oh, you mean Nick Fury's not really dead? Oh, you mean fucking whoever else is not really dead? And eventually it's just like a one-trick pony. But this could actually work out really well. What do you think about this, Caleb?
So I'm kind of over like death meaning anything in the MCU. I was over as soon as Coulson happened because I love that death. Like, I think that is such a well-done death. And they totally just were like, oh, he's popular, let's bring him back. And for me, Black Panther without Michael B. Jordan is a movie I would 100% skip, and as a movie I probably would have rated like a 3 had he not been in it. So he, to me, was Black Panther, was the whole film. And without, so I understand people had a huge love for him, and he is brilliant as that character. I think it's I think it's probably a smart move to bring him back. Yeah.
Like with Chris Pine and Wonder Woman, it's like I almost assume at this point that it's a retcon, that like they may not have ever had plans for bringing them back, but because they're a fan favorite, because audiences and critics responded to them so well, they felt like they needed to bring them back for audiences to respond to the movie in the same way. Now, whether that's true or not, who's to say? But I mean, it does feel like that to me.
That's exactly what it feels like. The whole Jeff Goldblum coming back in Jurassic Park 2, even though they killed him in the Jurassic Park book.
Yeah.
The originally. And then the second book, they're like, you can kill him. And you're like, about he died.
Yeah, for sure. My buddy Josh Finney replied to me on Twitter and basically said, you could bring him back in the ancestral plane, and then he doesn't even have to be a living character. And that, to me, is like, oh yeah, no shit. He could totally fit in as a function of the movie. He could be
they could just like Obi-Wan him.
Yeah, 100%. Or he could almost be the internal conflict of Chadwick Boseman's character, or like, have you forgot about whatever thing from your past, you know? Like, yeah. I think they could really use him as a cool narrative tool.
That would actually, I don't think they will do that, but that would be awesome.
That would be the way to do it.
like every time, like he's like kind of like a given to the dark side sort of mentality that like he has almost visions of him would be super cool.
That would be cool. So, I mean, do you think that that's too impressionistic, that they're going to have to go more literal with it?
Oh yeah, no, 100%. That motherfucker's coming back and they're having another poorly CG fight scene.
They're going to win best VFX for that shitty fight scene.
Actually, I think they'll probably I think they'll throw more budget at it. I think they're going to get the next one will have amazing visual effects. It'll be like Infinity War level.
Yeah, they've caught it a little bit of flack about it, so I'm sure they will really step up all of that aspect of the movie next time around. All right, guys. Well, that'll pretty much conclude this evening's version of the podcast. If I seemed a little bit slow to the draw, slow to the uptick, it's because I am. I was a little tired before we started today. It's this weather, I think, man. It's got me fucking like wanting to just lay around and sleep.
Yeah, I'm a freak of nature who gets up at 4 a.m, so I'm exhausted.
Yeah, there's that too. Oh, I was watching the Joe Rogan Experience today with Mark Maron on it. It was so weird, dude. Apparently they have like a very tumultuous past.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting. So you guys check that out if you are in.
And watch the Mike Tyson one too, because that's insane.
Oh shit, I forgot about that. Yeah, that's something I'm gonna do tomorrow when I should be working. All right, guys. If you enjoyed this video, do me a favor. Take just a second to click that little thumbs up button. Make sure that you are following me and Caleb on all the social medias. Links are down in the description. Caleb Says Stuff on YouTube. If you want to follow the podcast, head over to SoundCloud and Stitcher. We've got People Are Terrible, Movies Are Terrible, all that good stuff. Yeah. Subscribe if you want to stay up to date with all the content. Until next time, be terrible.